Hey folks, it's Vagrant. Welcome back to Assassin's Creed Valhalla as we explore Norway. And we are looking for a pack of wolves. And there is a pack of wolves. Fantastic. Boink! 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 Aww.
Wolves. Must be the pack that Urnir quarreled with.
Must be. So we're looking for a key. There's a key and there's a note. Eivor was out at night, but not to feed, defending us against the darkness as I slept. Eivor is Ornir's dog. I buried his remains in the moonlight while his killers howled their dire death song. The intrigues of Harald's court are a fading memory. Eivor was a good dog and a loyal companion. I am alone, but rage burns in a cold heart.
Urnir, your worst fears realized. But your death will not be in vain.
Yes, I'm going to rob your corpse, basically. But that's nice, you know. He didn't have much left in his life. Just had his dog, and his dog died protecting him. So he thought he would go and try to avenge his dog's death. Essentially, yeah, it didn't work out, but I'm sure he would have been moderately okay with how things went down. You know. Anywho, let's head across the sea. Might actually need a boat. Oh. Anyways, am I going to use the boat? Am I that crazy person who uses a boat? I might actually use the boat. It might actually be quicker. What a weird world Norway is, where the boat is useful.
Stretch.
Longship. Bloody miles away, lads. I'd have been there by now. Hello, guys! I love you so much.
Eivor!
Hey. Why have you put me... Why is the boat this way? This seems terribly organised. Come on, reverse. Well, this is going badly. Okay. Never mind. We're not using the bloody boat.
My blood freezes.
Oh no, maybe I have to. Well, we're going to have to see what happens, I suppose. You'll be fine, Eivor. You'll be fine. I've got 5 rations. What's the worst that could happen? She could freeze to death. But other than freezing to death, what's the worst that could happen? Well, I guess that's about it. I mean, she seems okay. Nothing much is happening. It says I'm getting curved, but then my health bar doesn't move. Maybe there's a timer involved? Oh, that little zoom out made me nervous. No, I seem okay. Nothing's really changing. Maybe my armor stat and all that kind of jazz is making the damage ineffectual. It's very threatening, but it's not very effective, basically. Oh, yes, my health has ticked down a tiny bit. There we go. Okay, Eivor, you only just made it. Let's go grab this treasure. Oh. Yeah, so hopefully we can finish off Norway today, and then we can head back and do some fishing, I suppose, is the idea. It's a bandit camp. Is this a full-on town? What is going on? Again, all these little places that you would never see unless you came to search for the wealth.
On sight here.
Yeah, they don't like me here, but it's still pretty cool. Hey. Yeah, why not? It's a hell of a throw, Eivor. Just killing people for the hell of it, really. Oh, hi. That's cool, though. Like this shipyard, it's like a full-on shipyard with ships hanging up and being crafted and the northern lights in the background. It looks awesome. And you never would have seen it unless you came for this wealth. I like that. I do appreciate that. Hello.
Odin! Odin!
You have my treasure. Trying to block. What a nerd. No, no, no. None of that here, thank you very much. Ow. Just hit me. How dare you. There is something else in the air. Ooh, it's a, yeah, there we go. Down we pop. And down we pop. This is nice and easy. I'm very much appreciating it. Okay. Wait, what did we get first of all? Oh, I don't know. I'm a dummy. It'll pop up again, I'm sure. Oh no, it didn't pop up again. Oh, it did. Oh, it's a bow. All the items here have like really simple names, like recurve bow and stuff like that, and war axe, I think it was. You can tell it's kind of like a starter zone based on just on the name of the items we're getting, really. 5 minutes, we've done 3 wolves already. Flying through, folks, flying through. Now, what is this? It's our green thing. I see a man, so it's a quest. Hello, quest man. Oh, quest horse. Maybe it's a quest horse.
Come if you have courage.
Oh man, I've got so much courage.
We shall. He has been taken by bandits. Come quickly.
A Jarl taken by bandits.
If you are as brave as you appear, you will come.
I feel like this is a trick.
Faithful, trust me. Follow me.
This is definitely a trick. There is absolutely no way that this is not a trick.
Kill him. Do they not want a ransom?
Just hurry.
I'm only following you because the game makes me, okay?
Go on. They are up ahead.
You know where they are. You lead.
Fine. Follow me.
Any second now. Wow, what a surprising situation we find ourselves in here. Who saw this coming?
In for the kill.
Norway belongs to the Norse. Am I not Norse? Am I Dane? Alright, cool. Hey! Enough of that, thank you very much. Alright, you.
This pathetic gamble has cost them their lives.
They threatened to kill me if I did not help.
So to save your life, you led others to their death.
Our village was burned by Kjotve the Cruel. We had to flee to the forest. Those who survived grew mean and desperate. Olaf, one of the men you killed, said we had to fight for our land. But he only wanted to kill for silver.
There was no need for this fight. Kjotve is dead, by my hand. I have lifted his boot from your neck.
Olaf, you lifeless fool! You almost murdered our rescuer!
Your second mistake was choosing me as your prey.
That was not a mistake. You looked like a good fighter. I was hoping you would kill or weaken Olaf so I could escape.
You are young and still foolish, so I'll spare you your life. But cross me again, or harm anyone I cherish, and you will join your friends in Helheimer's foul forests.
You will never see me again. I will be a white rabbit in the snow.
Alright. Eivor seems to sort of at whim decide whether someone deserves to die or not. Run, little rabbit, run! I don't think I'm even allowed to kill him. Come on, Wolfie. No idea where you've gone. I'll just run. It's fine. So, it's just too early in the video to talk about. I was thinking the other day, I've put a lot of time in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I've enjoyed it. Or at least I think I've enjoyed it. That's kind of what my point is. There is people on my Discord who believe Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an exceptional game, like it's one of their favourite games ever, like the best Assassin's Creed game. And I had similar people, not the same, different people, hi if you're watching this video, mentioned that Ghost of Tsushima, like the last playthrough we did, was one of their favourite games, and they thought it was a really well-made, brilliant game. And you know what I thought the other day? That...
It was home
Ah.
once. Now it is nothing but bone.
Eivor, I'm trying to talk smack about the game. Now you're going to make it all emotional. This is where we used to live. That's sad. Right, anyways. So, and Ghost of Tsushima was like one of their favourite games, and they thought it was a fantastically well-made game, blah, 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 and like one of the best games of the year, etc., etc.
This passage, I was so excited. I won every game of hide and fetch after that.
You know what, I'll wait until this area is done until I finish this thought process. And I'm not ragging on Assassin's Creed, that's not the idea.
Silver, gems, precious things. How did Kjotve's dogs miss this?
It was very well hidden behind the not at all suspicious boulder. Alright, well, that's good. There's a thing over there, yeah. Alright, we're going to need the boat for this. I mean, we don't, but it'll take bloody years to get over otherwise. Is there a boat over there? Can you take like a little cute boat? No. So anyways, I was thinking the other day, you could replace basically everything I've just done in Assassin's Creed with Ghost of Tsushima, and I would not notice the difference. The games are the same. They're the same game. They really are. And it's not just these games, it's games in general. There is a very sort of specific structure that big AAA games take these days, where they are big open world games with upgrade trees and crafting and stealth sections and, generally speaking, melee combat and a ton of collectibles and stuff on the map and little side quests and stuff like that. Assassin's Creed and Tsushima are 90% the same game. The difference really is graphically and, I suppose, the story, right? Tsushima doing better story than Valhalla, in my opinion. And I realised, and I don't want to rag on Valhalla here, because I've put 90 hours in the game or something like that. It makes me seem stupid. And I think I enjoy it. But it does blow me up. Like, I will forget this game the second I finish playing it. And I don't want this to seem bad or for people to go, well, he doesn't like the game, we may as well stop watching the playthrough and stuff like that. But it is not a memorable game, and frankly neither was Tsushima. They are games by committee, they are games by number. There isn't an original thought in their head. There really isn't. You know, one of my biggest qualms with games as I get older is that gameplay and story are disconnected, as it was in Tsushima. And as it is in Valhalla, there's no connection between the gameplay and the story. One does not inform the other. The gameplay is the gameplay, because that's what all big AAA games are these days. Doesn't matter where they came from. Remember, Far Cry used to be an intense first-person shooter, and is now exactly the same as this game. It just happens to be in first person. And people love these games. I like them as well. But I was thinking, do I actually enjoy Valhalla in its second-to-second gameplay, or do I enjoy maps and completionism and knocking things off a checklist? Because I think about what I've done since I came to Norway. I've just gone from point to point to point to point, just doing things. There's no challenge involved, there wasn't really any story involved, generally speaking. I just went from point to point to point because the map told me to. Is that a great game? Not really. The gameplay is fine, but fairly basic and much too easy. I've got more points to make, I'll get there. I want to stress that this is an exceptionally well-made game with some beautiful environments and great voice acting and lots of positives. But I also think this and Tsushima and all the games like it are much, much too by the numbers to ever be heralded as anything other than just chunky games that you can use to kill your time. They're not special. There's nothing special about any of them. It sounds very negative, and it's not meant to be, but I'm trying to just accept the games for what they are, if that makes sense.
I did not expect to find anyone on this island.
And why not? This is England, home to a nation of Saxons and Danes. Our shores are open for trade.
England. It is not what I expected.
Many from Norway find the trip dizzying, but fortunately you have me to guide you. I know the land better than my own son.
Are you alright?
My son, nesting with the Picts north of Hadrian's Wall. Who knows what schemes they're hatching, or the sort of people they might send to spy on me.
You said something about a tour.
Of course, a tour. Follow me. This is the city of London.
It's beautiful.
Built by the Romans during ancient times. We have not seen builders like that since.
I guess they had to work with what they had.
England closer than you think. Come and visit beautiful England. Rich fields and game-filled forests await. Marvel at the walls of old London or the busy streets of New Winchester. You might even be lucky enough to meet King Alfred himself. The king is generous and offers land north of Hadrian's Wall for any strong enough to hold it, and you will need great strength to battle the savages who make their home in the north. Just like modern times. They are an uncivilized people who will burn your homes and steal your children. Join me in my fight to rid the land of these monsters. Where did he go? There he is. Alright, buddy. Show me England. It's very snowy and cold in England. Much snowier and colder than I remember. What are we doing? What are we up to?
These are the Dover Cliffs, famous for their bluebirds.
Bless Eivor sometimes. She really does just like, yeah, good point, man. Good point, buddy, good point. You're not wrong. Sometimes she's very happy to indulge people in their delusions, and sometimes she's really not. We have had quests where she's like, no, you're crazy, snap out of it. I guess it depends on if they're harmful to others or themselves.
Keep this between us, but King Alfred has a plan for Jorvik.
I see.
What's his plan for Jorvik? We did go to Jorvik, and there was lots of problems with the Order of the Ancients. Is that further suggesting that Alfred has his part in the Order of the Ancients?
This is Hadrian's Wall, our last line of defense against the barbarous Picts.
It is a line of swords.
Off we go. I'm scared to talk. I have so much I want to say, and he's gonna say words, aren't you? I know you. I know your type. The type who says words. Typical. I love the snow effects. Look at them, they're great. Whee! One of the best parts, unironically, one of the best parts of the game. They're very cool. Where's he gone? Oh, he's taking me to his house.
At the end of our tour is Winchester, the heart of Wessex, where is King Alfred? Those honorless Picts, they have taken the king. We must seek them north of Hadrian's Wall. Where are you, my king?
Just gonna loot you.
Sure, he's somewhere.
I haven't unlocked bonus content. Go away.
Do not worry, my king. I am coming.
I wonder if there's going to be bandits or maybe a rival horse gang. Not seeing anyone. Nothing on the scan. Is this Alfred?
My king! What happened? Why won't you speak?
Who in hell's name are you? Why are you going through my things? Force balls, you found it. Why did you take it back? You set him off again.
Traitor! The king won't speak to me. You cut out his tongue.
He has no tongue.
Because you cut it out.
You are his son.
Do not feed this fantasy. His wits wither and become those of a babe. I took him here to ease his madness, but it grows worse. I try using reason or playing along, but he hears only what he wants to hear.
Only what he wants to hear. I have an idea that could help, if you let me. Old man, your king is worn out from his ordeal. I can hear him speak very softly. He's praising you. He wants to thank... He wants to thank Hising for his loyalty to the crown.
What else does he say?
The Picts, terrified at word of your approach, will pledge themselves to the crown if you spare their lives.
They will?
And they agree to pay a daily tribute of food and other goods in exchange for free passage through your lands.
Oh, it is a good deal and greater news. Thank you. You may leave the king in my care now.
This will only lead to further delusion.
You'll know at least that he eats every day. And maybe someday, the fog will lift.
Forgive my ill will. I knew this would be a difficult end, but sometimes the weight bears down heavily.
There is courage and honor in what you do, and the gods know it. Good luck to you.
I just figure
Like England is united.
he's probably not going to get better. You know, he's sick. You know, and that's not going to change. He's got dementia or whatever, and he isn't going to get better. So why not let him have some comfort in his final days? You know, it's like Shutter Island, basically. Anyways. So I'm really not trying to rag on Valhalla because I think it's a perfectly enjoyable game. I've had lots of good moments in it. I like a lot of the side quests. It's kind of like Skyrim, wherein the main story is kind of completely uninteresting in every single way, but the side quests are pretty cool, and we've had some really interesting things happen. I do think it's one of Valhalla's big problems. They've got this whole thing about, you know, going to the different areas and uniting all the people so we can take England or whatever. But the main quest is so nebulous and poorly defined. Like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. What is my main quest right now? I don't have one. I literally do not have one. Our main quest is to go wherever the hell Ranvi tells us to go and do little missions, right? And unite little places. But that's not an overarching... There's no sense of overarching goal. There's no sense of a villain. It was a lot better back when we had Fulke, because Fulke was a very defined antagonist, something to aim for, someone to try to murder, basically. But that's completely gone at this point in time. And it is a problem with Valhalla that is less of a problem in other Assassin's Creed games. But, saying that, it is generally speaking a problem... Hello, buddy! With all of these open-world, action-adventure, stealth-crafting... level up games, right? Because there is so much to do on the map that if you spend any time doing the stuff on the map, you inevitably spend a very long time away from the main quest. I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a less well-defined main goal than most of these games, but all of them suffer from the same thing of a lack of forward momentum because you're busy checking off checklists on a big old map, which I love to do. That's why I do it, and that's why I play these, for God's sake. No! Well, that's why I play these games. I like doing that kind of thing. It's funny in a way that you can kind of admit to yourself that a game is flawed and maybe nothing special and just kind of a little bit dull in a way, but at the same time kind of enjoy it. You know, I will not regret my time with Assassin's Creed Valhalla at all, and I really don't want this to sound overly negative.
I know you hear me.
What?
Do you often think of your father?
Yes.
Do you believe him a coward?
He is a coward, as everyone says. And now he lives with Hel. Her servant slow and lazy. Her curtains dialogue pulled across his bed.
You should win back the honor he lost.
I will.
I know you will.
Is it me? Does young Eivor sound a lot like young Gamey Pond from Doctor Who? I love that was so easy. I get it because we're on the Starter Island, it's going to make it easy on purpose, but I very much appreciate it. My point is, and it is the focus for today's video, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is not a great game. It's not. It's a game. It's a well-made game. Okay, no... See, even that sounds too harsh. By great game, I mean it's nothing special. It's not going to be written about in a decade. It's not seminal in any way. It's not changing anything. It does nothing original. And frankly, neither did Tsushima. The more I've thought back on Tsushima, which is very, very well rated and I perfectly enjoyed it, there's really nothing original to it. And again, the gameplay is at odds with the story in many, many occasions. And lots of the... I don't know. I find that with age I've become more critical in how I evaluate things, and whilst I can still enjoy them, I think it takes something a little bit different now to become special. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think about the last great game I played. Medium definitely wasn't. It was okay. It's been a while. Maybe I'm just losing it on games a little bit. Maybe I need to play something indie. Maybe I need to move away from the AAA stuff and try something a little bit more original. I don't know, really. Do love this music. And look at that, that's beautiful. I think if you think of Assassin's Creed more as not some epic Viking story, because that's not really how it feels, and not as a fantastic gameplay experience, because frankly it isn't. It's okay, it's solid, it's well made, it's well constructed, it all flows nicely. You know, it's got a really cool skill tree, blah 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 blah. But it's not like a phenomenal gameplay experience, you know, it's not. It's a very easy game, and you know, that's fine for some people, but the reason it's easy is because easy difficulty turns people away, you know, so they have to make it easy. Can I get down here? It seems a little riskier than it did a second ago. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this. I guess we're going to go over that way. There will be a lot of people that disagree with me. But I think unless you move away from the gluttony of open world adventure games that are all basically like this, then you're more likely to find this kind of game to be something special, and it's totally fine if you do. I don't know. It's a little bit sad that this is what gaming's become, in a way. It reminds me of about 10 years ago. You know when every new game was like a first-person shooter, basically, of varying forms? It's kind of the same thing, where all games are this now. Watch Dogs came out, that was it. New Division game, that was it. Ubisoft is to blame for 99% of them, it must be said. It's just a little bit lacking in creativity as a medium right now. And that's why you have to go indie to find new stuff. Or you look at things like New Pokemon Snap, itself a remake, sequel, quasi kind of thing, but very much not like most other games out there in the world right now, and that's cool. I was going to do, and I've mentioned this, my whole replay the entire Assassin's Creed saga thing, and as much as I'm interested in doing that from a story perspective, I've been thinking more and more about... Because the fact is, the last 5 or 6 Assassin's Creed games have been the same as this game. New setting, and sure, and the setting's really cool and a fantastic part of this series.
Hey now.
Hey now, hey now. Now, this is an enemy one. But the fundamental gameplay and the experience and all the side missioning and stuff, it's basically identical from game to game. There's little changes, but not really. So I'm becoming less convinced that that's something I want to do. I don't know. Again, it sounds like I'm being super negative, and there's a lot that Assassin's Creed does really, really well. It is a beautiful game, great voice acting, can have interesting stories. Again, I don't think it's particularly in the main quest, but the side quests are really cool. And that's like a historical tour? Am I dying? What the hell is going on? That's like a historical experience and living, you know, the fantasy of being a Viking and stuff. It's really good at that. And seeing these places and going to Asgard and stuff and all that is awesome. It's like it's like a tour that's facilitated through gameplay rather than a game, if that makes sense to me at the moment, I guess. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just isn't a game of the year, neither is Tsushima, you know? I think that makes sense. I think that sums up more what I'm getting at, really. There's a lot of good stuff about this game, but it just isn't special enough to be anything more than it is. I don't think it's more than the sum of its parts, you know? I think it's less than the sum of its parts. Still a great game. It doesn't sound like it. I don't know, it's just in my head. I guess I'm a little bit worn... I've been talking about this for nearly half an hour. I'm just a little worn down by the proliferation of this exact same genre, copy and pasted 500 times. Like, I'm excited for the new Horizon Zero Dawn game, but it's the same thing. Again, it's the exact same formula. Just has robot dinosaurs, and that makes it cooler, basically. We might mix things up after this, when Valhalla ends. So we've got the DLC to go yet, and then another DLC. There's plenty of time left, and again, I'm going to play the DLC. If I didn't want to play the DLC, I wouldn't. That's the whole point of this channel. I'm only going to do what I want to do, basically. And I definitely do want to play the DLC, so I can say all this stuff, but the fact is the game has hooked me in regardless. You know? Which is what it wants to do, so it's kind of daft in a way that I'm aware of what the game is trying to do and how all these checkpoints are designed to keep me playing the game for as long as possible, and yet I succumb to it anyway. I'm very self-aware, but I fall for it regardless. Which is kind of stupid. Alas. Now this one should be super easy. It looks pretty chill. It looks like I basically just hop up the whole thing, essentially, yeah.
Anomaly number 9. Feeling okay? Any adverse effects?
I'm a little tired. That's about all. Why? You expecting something worse?
Good start.
Expecting the unexpected. It's hard to fully trust these things.
I'll be careful.
Oh. I'm a little surprised this one is... Like, I'm not going to say it's the hardest thing in the world, but considering where we are, I thought it would be simpler than this, you know? I'm a little surprised. I assume you're important. It is quite simple still. Yeah. God, I didn't fall down there. The most challenging, you know what the most challenging part of this game? Well, ironically, the hardest part of Valhalla is the cairnstones. I'm not even joking. It is genuinely the hardest part of the entire game. Which is a little bit mad if you think about it. Right, I need to zap this one over on that right hand side. I assume. Come on, buddy. Oh, you're so slow. Which is good, because apparently I needed to go over here. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, I don't want to seem like I've been negative about the game or ragging on it. I enjoy it. I'm going to keep playing it. And I don't regret my time with it at all. But I do think I want to maybe try some stuff after this that we wouldn't necessarily play typically. More story-focused games, horror games. Oh, right. No, I have to... I don't want to wait. Yes! Come on, buddy. Over here to the left, please. Thank you. Come back. Go. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to play something a bit more story focused. I think back to like Last of Us, which is ostensibly a story-focused game in a lot of ways, and it's still openish world with stealth, action, adventure, crafting systems. It's still the same bloody thing. All games are a slave to this formula. Oh my god, hello. You're a speedy son of a bitch, aren't you? Alright, let's go now. And then to the right. Guess. This one's a little tricky. Interesting. Left. Okay. Do I need to get up high or... yeah. That was very, very risky. Run. Bloody Nora. I don't know, I just want to play something different. I'm just in the mood. That's all I've got, really. Don't know why it took me half an hour to get through that conversation, but... and I'm not trying to, like, belittle people who are into, like, who this is their favourite game, or alternatively, you know, Tsushima is their favourite game.
They have assured me their success is imminent. Our people will survive the cataclysm.
Well, 6 times they have tried to save us, 6 times they have failed. Forgive me if I have my doubts.
The mother is working on a 7th. A bold solution. Risky. But she's confident it can work.
And what does the father say? Or the voice? They are strangely silent these days.
That sounds like Loki. And Freya. Just realised. Oh, for God's sake, game. So yeah, anyways, I'm not trying to be negative about anyone's opinions or feelings or anything. I think I'm just more solidifying my own perspective on gaming these days. And what I want from games, I think, is changing slightly over time. And part of me does think about, like, what people want to watch. It's stupid, because the whole point of this channel was for me to do whatever the hell I want. But part of me does think, you know, if I go... ah, god damn it. I thought that might be a problem. I have to go back down. But part of me does think, if I play obscure indie game, is anyone going to care, you know? But that's I'm against the whole point of doing this, so I need to stop that thought process. Anyway, I'll stop complaining. I don't know. It's the same with everything, really. It's not just video games. It's films and stuff like that. I become more and more kind of like resistant against things like Marvel films and any film that I feel like is, again, made by committee. You know, it's a big blockbuster that's made to be as inoffensive as possible, to sell as many tickets as possible, doesn't take any risks. That's what I want more. In films, in TV, in games, I want risk. And I really, really appreciate when people try to do something different. Which I guess is my main problem with games like Assassin's Creed, Tsushima, etc, etc. There's no risk-taking, there's nothing new, there's nothing original. It's just a very well-crafted experience, and that's fine. It's just not what I'm looking for these days. It's the same with, you know, blockbuster films. People loved things like, I don't know, King of the Monsters, for example. So many people I know adore King of the Monsters, and I think it's a terrible, terrible film.
Number 9 in sight. And the voices are still with me.
That's
going on
strange.
here?
We're still not hearing anything.
Are you sure they aren't coming from somewhere
Whoa,
else?
Nelly.
Like, from you?
God,
Whoa!
no. How would that be possible?
Sorry, just asking.
Alright, up, up, up! Up! Oh, come on, Layla! You numpty. That's interesting, because I swear that's a mechanic we've not seen again. Even though this is like the first or second one of these you ever do. I know it says 9th, but technically. Okay. I'm hoping when I get the 10th one, this is all going to start to make some sense. At the end of the day, I am... What's the word? I'm invested in Valhalla now. You know? And I don't think it's because of Eivor as a character, and I don't think it's because of the story, because frankly there isn't one anymore. Like, what's the story right now? Is it just to get all the little Viking clans on side? Because that's not a good story. Back when it was, you know, save Sigurd from Fulke, this megalomaniacal, crazed Christian woman who thinks he's a god, you know, that's something. That was something to latch onto. Saving Sigurd was the goal. And the protagonist needs a direction, a goal, a motivation. And I just feel like I don't have one right now. And maybe that's because I do spend all this time doing side quests and exploring. But the last, like, 4 or 5 sections we've done, except maybe the Alfred stuff a little bit, hasn't led to a story. You know, we're at the end of the game now. This should be the culmination of everything, and it isn't. It's gonna have to be the start of something, because there's nothing going on. That's really weird the more I think about it. That's very strange. Wait, is that a seal? Oh my god, is it a legendary seal fight? See, you know, the story sucks, whatever, but legendary seal fight? Might be a bear. Oh, I was hoping it was a legendary seal. That would have been awesome. It's a bloody bear. I knew there would be a bear. But even still, a legendary bear fight, that's a very cool thing. You know? I think that's awesome. This is very cool. Games don't have to be good at everything, you know? It is a bit of a shame. I do think the story could do with improvement. It does kind of blow me away that there's no central goal at all this late in the game, you know? I think maybe the main problem I have with that, and that would have been an easy fix, is to have Alfred. I suspect Alfred is the main antagonist. I suspect he's going to be important in the end game, basically, in the stuff coming up, right? But the problem is, he's barely been in the game. He's been in like twice in 90 hours. I think if more of the little side sections contained Alfred, if he featured in those, and he was more established as an antagonist, I would have less concerns about the story, you know? If that makes sense. You can take a hit, buddy, but it's not a hard fight, I've got to tell you. Hey. Such a good streak there where I never got hit and then he bloody ruined it. The Bear of the Blue Waters. See, that's pretty cool. Again, I'd like the fight to be harder, but that's pretty cool. And I accept completely, must be said, that I have different priorities in games than other people and different wants than people. You know, Robin, if you happen to be watching this, hates difficulty in video games and think it's a terrible thing. People want different things from their gaming experience, and I guess what you want changes over time. Again, it's like films. You know, 10 years ago, I would have loved... 12, 13, 14 years ago, I probably would have loved King of the Monsters. I really would. But I think you naturally grow... I don't want to say cynical, because I don't think I'm a cynic. But critical with age. And I think when you've experienced all these things so many times, you start to want a little bit more. And I'd say for me that gameplay and story... Oddly enough, it's weird to say that the gameplay and story of Assassin's Creed is fairly mediocre, and yet it's still a good game. That's a weird thing to say, because the gameplay is okay, it's just there. It just exists. There's nothing particularly unique or interesting about it. Some of the skills are pretty cool, I give them that much. And the story, when it gets going and something's kicking off, and the characters, I've got to say, the characters are all really well written, the dialogue's fantastic, but the actual overarching plot is terrible. So they're kind of in combat with each other in a way. Maybe it'll pick up at the end. I just think it's too little too late at this point in time. I think no matter what happens from now until the end, unless there's like 20 hours left, even then I think it would have been poorly handled. So despite both of those factors being fairly mediocre, it's a good game that I enjoy a lot, you know. Which doesn't sound like it makes any sense, but the environments are fantastic, the voice acting's fantastic, the dialogue's great, there's lots of really interesting characters, lots of really interesting side quests. It's a beautifully realised world, all the history is really fascinating, there's lots of animals, which is great. All the armour and equipment looks really good. I do think it is sorely lacking in inventiveness, and I do think the armour system is actually fairly terrible. But I can't fault how they look. Eivor looks like a badass. There's lots of really cool side things. You know, flighting is awesome. Olag is... Olag? Whatever it's called. Olag is awesome. I don't know. It's bloody weird. Oh no. You just want different things, I guess. For me, story and gameplay are becoming more and more fundamental, and they sound like very basic things, and yet they are often ignored. And by gameplay I don't mean... You know, because the gameplay in Assassin's Creed, it does work really well. Everything, like the climbing is really good, 99% of the time. The combat is slick and easy to use and enjoyable and satisfying and all this kind of stuff most of the time. And yet... I feel like there's a disconnect between the gameplay and everything else sometimes. Do I even have to kill you guys? Nah, I'm out. No interest, thank you very much. See you later. Allons-y. This is very cool. All open world games on the planet have this, but it's very cool. I was really hoping somebody was under that. And I do have further problems in that we're always painted as such nice people. You know, the Vikings are all really wholesome, and Eivor's great, and everyone's lovely. We are invaders in a foreign land, taking it for ourselves, pillaging, murdering, and in reality raping and setting everything on fire and committing horrible, horrible acts, all in the name of claiming land and titles for ourselves. We are bad people. Like, let's not be silly about this. Vikings were, generally speaking, not great people. They were violent and plunderers who came to a foreign nation and tried to take it for themselves, and succeeded taking it for themselves largely. And yet we're just painted as lovely people. Eivor's great and everyone loves her, and at no point is this violent invasion of England as we steal land away from people. You think about the monastery strikes and stuff like that, where we go and we burn down these monasteries and loot them, and it's seen as this valiant, noble thing. And in reality, that's a terrible, terrible thing to do. Obviously. Why am I calling my man? I don't know. That stops me getting colder, that's cool. And that's okay. I'm okay with a game that makes you do terrible things. But my problem is, and I'm aware that for the last 45 minutes I've done nothing but complain about this game, but it's kind of like this coalescing of all my thoughts about the game sort of from the last 90 or so hours, which I should have saved to the end now that I think about it, but the end is going to be very story focused, I feel, so I want to kind of put it in during like an open world sandboxy bit. The game makes no mention of it. There's no thought about it.
This water, deadly cold.
Oh, Wolfie gave up. The only perspective we have on how the Vikings are murderous pillagers, which is what we are, comes from Saxons comes from the people we're pillaging. And they're painted as antagonists. Alfred is the main antagonist. We're here stealing his lands, essentially, but he's painted as the antagonist. Fulke, antagonist. They're always the antagonists. And the nice Saxons, the ones on our side, are the ones who don't care that we're raping and pillaging and burning their lands on fire and all this kind of jazz. So there's never been a moment where people like lay out what we've done wrong, or any of the Vikings themselves acknowledge what they've done wrong, or there's never any moral quandary or talk in any direction about what we're doing here. It's literally just a weird power fantasy about something inherently horrible. Huh. And again, that is the kind of thing that would never have bothered me 10 years ago. It would not have crossed my mind for a second. But it just seems kind of bizarre looking at it now through that lens. And I guess not every game needs to be some deep self-reflective story, but if you're going to tell a story, we want to tell the best story possible, right? And I think it would involve some element of that. Oh, it's a Drengir fight. And yeah, I'm still excited about checking something off my checklist. Because there's something inherently satisfying about that. That's why we gamify tasks. If you've ever seen... There's a game out there, like an app, some zombie thing, where basically you write down like a checklist of things you need to do every day.
This is my skill. This is my curse.
And you level up as you do tasks, and you gain equipment, and you fight zombies.
But the iron of a true drinker. Ragnar Lothbrok knew this, and bade me carry only boards, as a challenge. Now he is gone, and I remain. I wish to die, but I cannot, for he made me too strong. Now I spend my time longing for his company.
You must have a weak point.
None that I'm aware of. I was always the center of Ragnar's shield wall. He trusted me with the defenses of his great army. My flesh, scarred and trained by Ragnar, is now like an iron weave. It pains me. How can I join him if none can kill me in battle? I see no way in which this can occur. Unless you prove me wrong, fair challenger.
Will do.
Let me do the honor of breaking Ragnar's shield wall.
I hope you will. Let me now prepare the shield wall. Lord Ragnar, will this be the day?
People really are obsessed with Ragnar Lothbrok, aren't they? Oh my god, he has 2 shields. And this is the kind of thing the game does well. It establishes little side characters, it's really interesting, really quickly, you know, stuff like that. I'm gonna break your shields, I feel bad about that. You're a tough little so-and-so, aren't you? Get some poison, actually. What was I saying before I got interrupted? Alright, stop talking. Bloody hell.
I am Orwig never dead. I wish to die.
Can't remember what I was saying. Literally no idea at all what I was saying. It's a bloody Orwig never death. You know what? It's been a long time since Wolfie got involved. Get him, Wolfie.
I never thought I would feel this. Vulnerable.
Hits like a truck, gotta say. Rest now, Drengar.
I've been breached. Victory is yours. Victory is mine.
Stand fast and tall. You cannot die. The gates open for you.
See, that's a pretty cool thing. This old Drengir who fought along Ragnar Lothbrok, the centre of his shield wall.
A scroll recounting Ragnar Lothbrok's death.
Worshipped the man, but Ragnar's dead, and now this guy just awaits death himself, and yet cannot be given his honourable death, so we have to give it to him. That's cool! And this is what the game does really well. And again, I'm trying to emphasise that I'm not trying to rag on the game or be negative, because I know some people think I'm overly negative, whereas I think I'm just I don't know. I want to demand more from people these days, from game companies, from filmmakers, from everyone. Because I'm very much an optimistic person, honestly. I swear to God, I'm very optimistic. And love games and everything. And this channel exists purely because I love games. I make like £30 a month off this channel on a good month, you know. There's no money in this for me, but I sit here doing this because I really enjoy playing video games. Including Assassin's Creed. I do still want to do the Saga thing. I just think we'd have to space the games out, like, to a year or something like that. It wouldn't be a problem for the first few, Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 and Revelations and Brotherhood. I'd say the first 4 Assassin's Creed games. I'd say it's Assassin's Creed 3, where the open world, collect everything formula really started to kick off. Probably Black Flag, where it got, like, solidified. I'd say the games have been fairly similar since Black Flag. Black Flag's a fantastic game. But I think a lot of what makes Assassin's Creed good isn't in the gameplay, isn't necessarily in the story, but it's in the world building, it's in the atmosphere. Well, not even the atmosphere, but in the world building. And if there's one thing they are fantastic at, it's building and establishing a world. You know, Norway in this game is amazing. Go Blighty is amazing. Going over to Asgard was really cool. Vinland was really cool. These places feel like fully realised places with real people populating them. And interesting things to do, within reason. I just wish... You know what I wish more than anything, I guess? Is that the exploration aspect was more focused on, and that everything wasn't kind of slapped onto a map and presented to me. I think that's one of my main problems. Because it does start to feel like it's just a checklist. Do this, do that. Do this, do that, get yourself a job. Was Ymir the only one of his kind? Were there other great giants before? And if there were, did they give birth to the world like our own? Other realms with other men? Other gods? Who knows, my friend? Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. I really do like this music. And this is the thing, I can say all this, but I'm excited to play the DLC when it comes out. I'm very excited to go to Ireland and see the Druids. I think that's going to be really cool. I'm genuinely excited for it. It comes out pretty soon, actually. It's not like a week or something now. We are 2 away from glory, ladies and gentlemen. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4 away from glory. That makes more sense. We'll just do it in this video. I'm not going to leave, like, one thing left to do. It'll break my heart. I don't know. I like seeing people do new things. I think back to, like, you remember when Doom 2016 first came out? It was unlike anything we'd seen in such a long time. It was really unique. Nobody had made a game like Doom 2016 in a long time, since like the days of Quake. And then it came out, and then everyone started doing the same bloody thing anyway. It's very noticeable. If you look at things like, say, Undertale came out, or Hollow Knight, stuff like that, these kind of like hit indie games that everyone falls in love with. Neither of which I played, for what it's worth. And then over the next few years, you start to see all these clones pop up. You saw it with Breath of the Wild. Ubisoft, who made this game, have their own Breath of the Wild clone. Breath of the Wild came out 4 years, 3 years, 2 years ago, whatever the hell it was. Ubisoft saw that and thought, oh, hey, that's super popular. Everyone loves it. Let's make our own. And then they brought out this Immortals Phoenix Rising thing, which nobody cared about, quite frankly, but the point is they just decided, well, they have to make their own version. Everything that is successful and good just gets slapped into like a template and remade 500 times. Which is sad. I kind of sound like a boomer, but... And I know that, but I don't know, I just want some originality and some thought and some love and craft and passion in my games. You know, Valhalla is not a passion. You never get the sense that the people who... And again, I hate to keep ragging on Valhalla in particular. That's really not my intention. But you never get the sense that people who made Valhalla were passionate about making Valhalla. I'm sure there were lots of people who poured themselves into it and they adored working on the game and this a crowning achievement, and I don't mean to downplay that in the slightest. But you never get the feeling that there's actual passion in the game. And I think the reason for that is simply that there are so many people involved in making it that any individuality and uniqueness inevitably kind of gets stamped out by the corporate machine. Maybe that's what maybe more than anything else, that's what it is. It's I mentioned, I think, last video, how my whole eat the rich, more left-leaning ideals have kind of been established in the last few years. Maybe that's partially what's driving it. This kind of anti-corporate nature. I'm not about to go hippy-dippy on you guys or anything. I'm just saying my love for individualism and unique voices has gone up drastically in the last few years. And that's why I started watching more indie films, and I kind of steer away from major blockbusters a lot more these days. Mainly because I'm a hipster twat, but it is definitely part of it, you know, railing against the machine, as it were. In my own stupid way. My eye's itchy. Hello, quest people! I'm always excited about the little quests. Like this one has some fighting children.
What is all this? Who bangs the drums of war?
Look at you! A battle-hardened Vikinger! Just what we need.
Oh, and what do you need this battle-hardened warrior for?
One day, we will be the greatest warriors beneath our banner. Skulls will write songs of the wolf pack, but we must first practice our raiding.
Going on a raid, then we shall raid. 3 wolves, and I will be the 4th to your lead.
Wolf pack, onwards!
Come on then, wolf pack.
They ran. 4 warriors, like 4 limbs of one clawing body. Each limb built to kill, destroy.
I reiterate, these side quests, these little ones, are always really cool. There has been some bizarre, unique, very
They arrived at the village.
intriguing things.
And blades at the ready for the slaughter.
This is cool. See, I like this a lot.
Its insides are all outsides now.
I wonder if I have to burn down the house. There's a child inside it, which makes me nervous. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm pretty sure what I'm actually meant to do is kill all the dummies.
Bam! An arrow flies right into the body of an enemy.
What else am I doing, game? Not a blimmin' blamming clue. Oh, we're done. Successful raid, children.
A successful raid.
Yes! With your help, we slaughtered the Raven clan for good.
Wait, what?
The Raven clan, you say?
Yes. Just like Shotvejal's stories. One day, I'll be just like him.
Shotve's young raiders. I'll see you wolves on another battlefield one day.
Again, that was cool. That was unique. That was a little twist I definitely didn't expect, and I really appreciate it. And actually, kind of solemn in a way, as Eivor says that we may, those children, those happy little children that we just helped raid, we may genuinely slaughter them on a battlefield one day. It would not be outside of the realm of possibility. I would like to see, I think that's it really, I would have liked to see the game lean more into that, into the inherent, I guess I want it to be more depressing. Everything's just very light and fluffy. Even Sigurd losing a limb, it's just kind of, it just happened, you know, and now it's over, and Sigurd's a bit of a dick, but we haven't talked to him in like 20 hours, so I don't really care. And as I say, you can kind of blame me for, you know, oh, well, you're doing all the side missions and stuff. Well, yeah, but they're in the fucking game. Like, if the game doesn't want me to do the side stuff, if it's going to ruin the story, don't put them in the fucking game in the first place, you know? How is that on me? I'm just completing your bloody game. You can't have your cake and eat it. And I do think it is an impossible task. I'll give them that much credit. To craft, like, a coherent forward-moving, interesting story that doesn't lose momentum, and also have like a huge game world with lots of stuff on the map, I think is essentially impossible. I don't know how you would do that. I don't think you should have to do that. I don't think it would be a big deal. I think Assassin's Creed could lose probably half of its collectibles and it would not suffer as a game at all. Not one iota would the game suffer. Take out some of the useless wealths. Take out the stones and the troll magic, which is pointless and doesn't lead into absolutely anything anytime anyway. And maybe one other thing. Keep the side missions. And you'd be good. There's no need for it. But it's just cram the map, cram the map, cram the map, you know, let's get our players to have 100 hours of playtime. And here I am with 95 hours of playtime, you know. I am part of the problem. I fully admit that. I don't think I managed to talk about this for an hour. It's one of those things I've become much more passionate about as well. I always wanted to kind of get into being a critic of some description as my... And I think it's something you get better at with age. As your thoughts and perspectives and feelings on things become much more solidified with age. You know, when you're even in your early 20s, I think you are changing a lot as a person. You're growing and you're forming different opinions. And I'm not saying you stop forming different opinions as you get into your late 20s/30s, but I think you have a much more stable sense of who exactly you are. And I think that lends itself naturally to being a critic of some form. Now, there are many reasons I'm not going to be a critic. For one, I already have a job, and I don't think I'd find the time. And I don't know if I'd be particularly good at it. And I don't think I'd have anything particularly unique to say either, which is really the main thing. You need a unique voice and perspective. And I have no idea what that would be from me, you know? Just another straight white dude, really. And it's not that a straight white dude can't have an interesting or unique perspective on something, it's just that I don't think I particularly do. I have my perspective. It might be different than other people's perspectives, but not enough to shake up the zeitgeist or anything. Is it here? Alright, we have to climb, don't we? Gonna pass on that hard shaft in the rear if you don't mind, pal. Just gonna hop around this wall pointlessly for a while. There we go. Oh, excuse me. There's really not a quick way to get to this last one. No, it is really in the middle of bloody nowhere, isn't it? Oh, it's the last thing, though. It's the very last thing in all of Norway. Come on, then. Oh, it's below me. Oh, that's amazing. I was just kind of seeing visions of me having to climb a bloody mountain again. But it looks like there's a pit over here. And I will reiterate, because... And again, I feel like I'm only reiterating it because people do have perspectives that I'm negative or whatever. Or nitpicky. I get this a lot on the main channel when I say something like Jurassic World Evolution's basic gameplay loops are super boring, and people are like, oh, stop nitpicking the game. I'm like, well, the fundamental gameplay sucks and you think I'm nitpicking, but whatever. Or like when I criticise Jurassic World Dominion and I say, you know, the plot is all over the place and the pacing is horrific and the film in general is abysmal, and people are like, oh, you're nitpicking again. And it's like, people really struggle to hear criticism of something that they love, which is understandable. If someone came out and, say, criticised Trick or Treat, right, which is one of my favourite films of all time, and they said it was a bad film, and I know people who do think it's a bad film, and they're all wrong. But I would struggle to, like, coherently respond to that, because I'd be like, well, no, shut up. Clearly you're wrong. Stop nitpicking my favourite film. This is really cool, this area here. And again, so what I was going to say was simply that in Assassin's Creed's favour is stuff like this. This is awesome. This is really, really cool. I mean, that is amazing looking. It's like virtual tourism. And I actually think that's why I like these games and why I might continue to play them anyway. If we stop regarding them as... Maybe that's what we have to do. Maybe I need to stop thinking about it as a gameplay experience or indeed even a story experience, except for the side stuff, by and large. Even though I do want to play them all to get a handle on the main story. But if you think of the games purely as virtual tourism, there's really nothing else in the world better than Assassin's Creed. Now that's very strange, because it's, well, initially at least it was a game about being an assassin in Italy, and the first like 4 games were all in Italy. Literally the first 4 games were all in Italy. Actually, the first game wasn't in Italy. The second, third, and fourth games were in Italy. The first game was in Turkey, in Constantinople, i.e. Istanbul. Anyways, as virtual tourism, these games are unbeatable. And I, as someone who, you know, loves to travel and hasn't been able to recently and stuff, that is actually very, very appealing. So, and I say this about Assassin's Creed games, but it is more the modern ones that have gone in this other direction. If I think back to Assassin's Creed 2, for example, has a really good story, and Brotherhood or Revelations, I can't remember which one of those is a good one. One of those is a little bit iffy. I want to say it's Revelations. So Brotherhood's got like a really good story, and there's definitely a much larger story emphasis on the earlier Assassin's Creed games. At the end of the day, 3 games in a row all took place in Italy. You'd never imagine if the next 2 Assassin's Creed games were both set in Norway during Viking times. Imagine the outcry. Because that's not what people care about in Assassin's Creed anymore. You hear about it all the time. You know, the new Assassin's Creed game's on the way. What's the speculation about? There's nothing to do with the story or anything like that. It's always where they're going to set it. What's the theme of the next Assassin's Creed going to be? I suspect that to get this book, I have to go in that tunnel over there. That's actually an interesting point. I never really thought about that. So we do need to look at it in a different lens. They are not the original games anymore, which I guess has always been part of my problem, because I really liked the original Assassin's Creed games. Assassin's Creed 2 was one of my favourite games of all time for a very, very long time. Same with Revelations and Brotherhood, even though they were a little bit more faulted, they were games that I really, really loved. And then the series became about something entirely different, and part of the reason I lament that is because I actually really like stealth gameplay, which might be surprising to people, but being a ninja and sneaking around and assassinations and stuff, I always really enjoyed that. One of my favourite games growing up was Tenchu on the PS1, and it was a pure ninja fantasy. Fuck me. Sorry, swearing. I swore 3 times in this video, that's crazy for me. So, to lose that, and really that's the thing, there's no stealth games these days, it's just not a thing anymore, generally speaking. And all the games that try to be stealth games, thinking to Tsushima and stuff like that, they're not really. You get like, as soon as you get like a little bit into the game's like, well, you could stealth, or you could go in and kill everyone much, much, much quicker. Which do you want to do? I'm like, well, you know, there has to be incentive for stealth in a stealth game these days, and I think that's quite a hard thing to do. That is still below. This is tricky stuff we're doing here. It's very cool. It's tricky. No, Eivor! No! What are you doing? Why? Oh my god. I'm climbing up this. I mean, that is very cool right there. It genuinely is. Okay, so that's my new perspective on these games. It's virtual tourism. The gameplay and the main story are there to get us from point A to B, sure, but the side characters and quests and all that jazz and the world itself is what we're paying the ticket for. Okay, solidified on that. Cool. Only took me an hour and 10 minutes to arrive at that conclusion. I do think if I'd started these games with, say, Black Flag and never played the older ones, I'd have less problems with the series. It's just, I can't talk about Assassin's Creed without lamenting the death of what Assassin's Creed used to be. You know what I mean? Rage of Helheim. I can't believe there's so many. How are there 6 skills I haven't even unlocked yet? Everything else is actually maxed out. That's not right. That's got to be something else. I wonder what this is from. There's no way, absolutely no way, there are 12 more ability books out there. I'm 100% sure on that. That's the punchy one. Maybe it's from the DLC and these got added in preparation. That could be it. Anyways, virtual tourism for today is over. Norway officially finished. I didn't get anything for that. I just did it because I feel the need to do it. You know? There was absolutely no incentive to do that. Except that I hate leaving things incomplete. it does concern me that if I go back and play the other Assassin's Creeds, I'll do the exact same thing. Not in the original. The original had these flags, these Templar flags, and they were such a pain in the ass to find. There was like 50 of the bloody things, and they were just super obscurely hidden. I'm excited to talk to Sigurd. That's why I'm excited a little bit here, because I feel like talking to Sigurd is what's going to propel the storyline and get it going again, because, as I say, he just hasn't been a factor in a very long time. There. There we go. So technically we're level 451, which is a little crazy. Right, okay, well this was a unexpected video. I've literally talked about the same thing for the entire video. Hopefully people enjoyed it. I do like getting my views on things out there a little bit. I don't want people to think that I don't like the game. I really enjoyed the game. I played a lot of the game. Like, we can check right now. What's my actual playtime? 95 hours, 20 minutes. That's a lot of time to spend in a game. And I've said from the start, I only do things on this channel... Bloody Nora. I only do things on this channel if I enjoy them, because I want to do them. So, please don't misinterpret anything I'm saying. I'm kind of just rethinking my approach to the game series, I guess. It's that more than anything else. I have to rethink my approach to Assassin's Creed as a series going forward, and indeed backwards. And that's okay. It's something different now, but I'm always going to miss what it used to be. You know what I mean? I can do both. I can do both. I know ways. I'm excited to play it again. Like, I could carry on for an hour now quite happily. Actually, I might. So, I don't know if that makes me a hypocrite or just very self-aware, but one of the two. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.